Yeah, so my background has always stemmed across kind of strategic, analytical, and more recently technology-based roles. And seemingly everything is AI infused at the moment. So you can imagine the last kind of 5 or 6 years of what I've been doing has been around emerging technologies and in particular AI. I read something recently. I think it was the Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella that said, every company is going to be or needs to be a software company. I think that's moved on again. I think every company will now need to be an AI company of some form. AI is it's going to revolutionize the way every company works in the future from all kinds of different levels. And that's why the practice exists in Fornet. It's about identifying the use cases that are going to make the biggest benefits for different organizations and matching it to the technology that will deliver against those use cases.
Okay, so based on your background and based on where you've been and what you've seen and contact center specifically, the Fornet business is focused around contact centers. Where have you seen the emergence of AI over the years? What kind of from inception through to kind of where we are today? What have you seen as a kind of life cycle in that environment?
So the life cycle has kind of started. I always kind of joke around with AI and people talking about artificial intelligence. Largely, it's been artificial interactions, but not very intelligent interactions. So it started with natural language processing and the models that are kind of built to pick out words and topics and phrases. And that led to kind of this hype around chatbots, which again were artificial but not intelligent. They were scripted responses based on very kind of linear decision trees and rules that were set in.
The dialogue flows.
Exactly, yeah. Okay. So really, it was artificial, but it was based on someone else's intelligence, right? So whoever programmed it, it was really an artificial representation of their intelligence. And then we've moved on from the likes of ChatGPT now, which have kind of blown that out of the water. Now we're seeing what we can actually call artificial intelligence, the ability for an AI to make its own decisions based on data that it's given. And that's really the true definition of AI, is the ability for it to make its own decisions.
So chatbots, and it's a slightly loaded question, are chatbots AI or not?
A traditional chatbot, a rules-based chatbot, is not artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Okay. So we've covered that off and we ticked that off and that's done. So to think of this in the kind of Gartner hype cycle, are we at in talking about typical AI, where are we in that? Are we at the kind of peak of inflated expectation, or are we now moving into more established territory?
I don't think we're at established territory at all. I think we are still riding the wave at the moment.
Yep.
What is going to be possible with the future models that come out, the future large language models that we talk about and we see lots about in the media, how we connect those large language models to do other things is going to be what takes us over the edge into more established kind of territory. At the moment, we're still understanding the full capability of what language models can do. And I don't think publicly it's fully understood the actual power of the large language models and what we can do with them beyond having a conversation.